Hey there, LXP fans. It's Justin again with another Let's Experience. And if you've noticed, the noise of the cicadas outside has quieted down significantly. Thank goodness. Sorry that you guys have had to put up with that for some of the videos. Some of the ones that come after this one may also have some of them in it. We don't put these up in any specific order, so please bear with that. And if you're looking to try to make a timeline out of the videos, you can tell by my pathetically scruffy beard that has grown. Anyways, let's get to the game. Today's game is Kingdomino. Now, Kingdomino is 2 to 4 players. I know I do a lot of 2 to 4 player games, but 4 is my favorite number for gamers. But it is super short and super simple. It's brand new. Just came out, I think, in 2016. And it is kind of like playing dominoes. And like it says here, you're building a kingdom. So hence the name. Let's take a look inside. Alright, this is what you get with Kingdomino. You've got your 4 little player starter spots. Everyone gets a little castle. It's just kind of put together yourself, and then you put it on top of your starting kingdom piece. Right now, this piece, for future reference, is wild, and you're going to need to remember that you can place anything around it you want. I'll get back to that in a second. Now, other than that, you've got your little king meeple or queen, and there's 2 of them, but you won't use both unless you're playing a 2-player only game. In a 3 or 4 player game, you'll take one away and everyone only has 1. And it's kind of a worker for worker placement aspect, but it's not really that in-depth. So we're just going to put those back. And then we've got these right here. These are our tiles that we'll be laying, or our dominoes. And each one, you'll notice, has a number. This is the back side. And I organize those numbers from lowest to highest. From the biggest number to the top to the smallest number on the top. And then once those are there, we flip them over and show off these cool little pieces of our kingdom, right? So we've got some grain, we've got gold mining mountain, we've got the lake, there's forest, the pastures, and the wastelands. And I think that is the 6 that are in the game. Yeah. So you'll also notice that on some of these tiles there are crowns, and those are also important. Now, I'm going to take one of these meeples away from each person. Let's put them back over here on the box. Now, to start the game, all you do is take your meeples, shake them up, and have someone pull them out one at a time, right? And that will determine our turn order. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to choose which tile we want to put in our kingdom by putting our king or queen person on it. And that's really all you do, and you wash, rinse, repeat over and over again until you have made your kingdom and all the tiles are spent. Then we'll count up points. Now, how do you make points? Well, every tile makes you points in the game. It doesn't matter what kind you get. It just matters if you have a crown or not in that group of tiles, which I'll explain more in a second. So let's just pretend for a round here, because this that we're going to play around, because this works really best just by seeing it done. So green player would go first, and let's say that's DC. DC is going to actually pick the tile at the very bottom because it has 2 crowns, and the more crowns, the more score you're going to make. So he puts his person on that, and then he waits. Blue, that's Jack. Jack goes up here. He's going to take this one at the very top. Then let's see, Rochelle here goes over, and she's going to go with the one that's got the crown on the C. And then Morgan will take this one right here because he has really no choice. Once that happens, then the next 4 tiles will be revealed now that everybody's picked theirs. And then, like I said before, we put them in order from smallest to largest at the bottom. Okay? And then we're going to flip them over like this. And now I'll actually kind of explain the game. Right, So the person who gets to go first from this point on is whoever is on the top tile, right? So that's Jack in this instance, and Jack takes his meeple back, right? And then he takes the land that he reserved. He must then connect it to any spot on his castle that's already there, however he wants. He can do it lengthwise, up, down, doesn't matter. So let's just say he does it like that, right? Now, from now on, if Jack wants to connect something to this location or this location, it must be the exact same tile, or half of a tile at least. Now that could be like this, or it could be like that, right? And let's just say, for example, Jack had this one here. He could connect it like that. That's fine. It just has to have one side touching something of the same type. That's the only rule. Okay, put those back, right? Like I said, Jack takes his action, puts his tile there, and then immediately after placing, he gets to choose a next one. Well, he's actually going to go down here, and I'll tell you why. Because you'll notice how this is the same as that one, right? And he has crowns here. Well, the crowns are what denote how many points a tile type is worth. So this one right here that he bought first, you see has 1 crown on it, and it is of the yellow or the grain variety. That means that whenever Jack has another grain touching that, including the one itself, he gets 1 point, hence 1 crown, for each tile in that group, right? So, for example, 1, 2, 3, right? But at the moment, he's only got 1, so that's going to be 1 point for this tile. Now, this one that he's going to reserve next gives him 2 points per tile in his mine spots. So once he connects that, he's going to make this one retroactively worth points, right? So let's go back. He takes his turn, puts that there, and then he goes and reserves the next piece he wants. Okay. Then it comes to Rochelle. Rochelle takes her tile. She puts it on her kingdom however she wants. She's going to do it like that. Okay. And then she reserves her next piece. Well, she's getting points for water, so she's going to go down here and take this one. Then let's see, there's Morgan. Morgan goes over here and then puts his in his kingdom, right? He is now making points for wastelands. And finally, Matt, going last, takes this one, puts it where he wants in his kingdom. He's going to put it right in front like that, and then has to grab the double forest. Okay, these slide over, new ones come out. We line them up in order again, and like I said, rinse, repeat. Okay, flip, flip, and flip, and flip. Okay. So now DC is first, since he's at the top. He will go and grab this one, and not only does that make him stay first player for the next round following, but he's also going to get to connect this and this to give him 2 crowns, 2 points each. That's 2, 4, 6, right? So he takes that one. This goes wherever he wants, as long as one piece is touching his wild main castle here, right? And so he's just going to line it up like that. He might say, forget the water, I'm not going to go for water. It's kind of hard to go for everything in this game if there's 4 people playing, because someone's inevitably going to take that piece you want. So you kind of have to pinpoint a certain type or 2 or 3 lands that you want to work on, and don't spread yourself too thin. At the same time, if somebody, well, let's just finish Morgan's turn here. Morgan's going to jump down to there. And so he puts this one out, and he puts it right here. If somebody continually grabs, this is Rochelle's turn, continually grabs the same scoring type, then they're going to monopolize that and get a ton of points, because here's what happens. Let's go up here and look at Rochelle's. Here's what happens when Rochelle connects this to her already existing water space. So this is worth 1 point because it's got a single crown. When she connects this to it, now they're both worth 2 points each. So every time that a crown gets added to that location of that type of land, you're going to multiply the points by that many crowns. So down here, Morgan's going to get this one later, which will actually change these from 1 point each to 2 points each. That multiplication effect is really, really, really damaging to everyone else if one person gets all of them. You can make 50, 60 points off of one type of land doing that. Okay, let's finish this round here. Jack goes to the last spot he's able to take and puts this in. Like I said, he has now multiplied his points, and it fits perfectly. It gives him points for both types, right? Then these slide over, and then we add 4 more in correct order. Let's skip towards the end and see how it looks. All right, here we are at the final round. I had to Tetris these out a little bit. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure you guys can see as much of them as possible. You'll notice that each player has kind of gone for a specific type of thing that they were focusing on and branched out a little bit as well. And this is what our last round has for us. Now, DC ended up going first, and he takes his meeple, puts him back in his little play area, not useful anymore, then takes his last piece, places it wherever it can go, and he's done, right? Morgan, however, as you notice, has some holes in his kingdom. Now, you cannot go beyond 5 by 5. So, Morgan is unable to place this piece, it is trashed, and his turn is over, right? Jack as well has ended with a few holes, possibly costing him some points, but was it for the good? Was it for the greater good that he did that? Because he's got a huge little forest thing going on here. He tried to make it that way. So this is also trashed. And finally, Rochelle takes her last piece. And this is the big one right here. It's got 3 crowns on it, the only piece with 3 crowns. And she actually has 1 mine that she snagged before anyone could get it. So she's going to connect it to that. All right. So that ends it, and then we go to final scoring. Now, final scoring, like I said, you just are going to multiply the number of crowns in a location of the same type by that number of squares in that location. So we would do it piece by piece. I'll just show you how one of them would work here, right? So if we scored forests, and you can see Jack has a huge forest going on here with 1, 2, 3, 4 crowns, and he would get 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 44 points just from that. Whereas Rochelle over here has got 1 crown, 1, 2, 3 points. So you see how things can get really different when someone focuses on a single thing. Okay. Now that's not to say that Rochelle would lose. She has a lot of points in C's. So 1, 2, 3 crowns, for example, times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 3, 27, right? And you just keep going. Everyone adds up all their score. There are 2 bonuses at the end of the game as well. Should you complete a 5 by 5 perfectly, you receive bonus points, and if you have your kingdom, your castle right in the middle of your kingdom, you also receive bonus points. So whether or not you perfectly Tetris things and put them together, you may score a lot of points, but you also can get bonus points for doing that whole puzzle perfectly. So there's a few different ways to play. Right, so a tad of a long explanation for a short game, but it really is a game that you play, that you learn through playing. And I encourage you to come to the store and check it out. And it takes 15 minutes or less. With 2 players, if you want to make it bigger, you can. You can actually do a grand duel, as they call it, which makes a 7 by 7 grid of all the pieces, and it fits perfectly too. So that 7 by 7 can be really fun. Points can get up into the hundreds. It's really cool. But for a first try, try that 5x5 and just have fun with it. It's really simple. Nothing that you need to strategize too hard about. The whole take that aspect of grabbing the piece before your opponent gets a little fun sometimes. And like I said, in a 2-player game, you each have 2 kings that you get to put out every round. So you'll get 2 different things coming, and you'll be able to think in your mind, oh, how can those connect? Or what can I hope to gain later on from these? So come on in and check it out.